Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestle Plug podcast. I'm Aaron Nix. As you know now, the handsome, ludicrously handsome devil on the screen next to me is somebody you may recognize, particularly if you're a part of the independent scene in the Southeast and particularly in the Hampshire region. It is, of course, the Samoan legend himself, Eddie Kenway. Welcome to the podcast, mate. It has been a long time coming, sir.
Hi there, Aaron. It's nice to be here. I mean, yeah, it's about time I get on a platform where I can actually talk to people. You don't just see this guy grunting and go, "Ooh, I'm gonna smash you in a bit," and maybe get to know me a little bit more.
Yeah. People won't realise how much of a lovely human being you are till you get in the ring and then you hurt people. And I admire that because I'm very similar. You're basically the Samoan version of me, which I adore, to be honest, mate. Now, obviously, there'll be plenty to talk about, plenty of discussion, probably ruffle some feathers along the way as well. But for people who don't know who Eddie Kenway is, tell us basically a little bit about yourself and what you are capable
of. Okay. So Eddie Kenway is this. It's the culmination of I don't know, 20, 30 years of what I wanted to be when it came into wrestling. You know, you do the old create a character when you're playing SmackDown and Raw or whatever it was back in the day on the N64. Creating a character was brilliant back then. I was always looking up to guys like Triple H, and I'd always thought, oh, I'll be a bit like him. I'm Triple X. And Triple X was a thing. I was like, no, maybe I'm not. Became a movie. But it was something I was interested in at school. Being where we are, you wouldn't think it would have been difficult to find somewhere to train, but back in the time where I was at school, I had a passion to go and do wrestling. There wasn't anywhere around. The internet really wasn't a thing when it came to sourcing things like that for wrestling school. So I attended a lot of gospel shows. I ended up bumping into Chris K. So I talked to him. I wrote him letters. We were sorted to start training because he'd had a space down at Don Styler's, which is a big weightlifting gym. He had a ring rented down there, and I think he broke something quite important. I don't know, his shoulder or collarbone, something like that, and he was out of action for a little bit, and that kind of didn't really take off for me because I didn't get the first bit of training under my belt. I didn't get any time in the ring to take bumps, not running the ropes, not on all that sort of stuff. And then the dream kind of fizzled a little bit there, and I thought, this is so hard just to try and find somewhere to actually get in a ring, talk to someone. And this would have been in what, 1998, 1999. That was the year I finished school, 99. So you can imagine how people might say otherwise, that it wasn't difficult. You just look in the right places, but you know, I had nowhere to go. I don't know where I was looking. Who do I talk to? But, so that fizzled out then. My dad said to me, well, get yourself a trade. Everyone needs a trade. So I went to college. I did bricklaying. Spent 2 years there doing a 3-year course. Blitzed through that. It turns out if you've got a little bit of common sense, you can smash all the intellectual stuff, all the paperwork that you need to get through pretty quickly. And I was out of there about 6 months earlier than I should have been. It had its own politics, it had its own crap that goes with it as well. Like paying your dues in wrestling, you get that in the construction industry. You put up with the shit gets thrown your way, and you know, you mature into an adult. And it's character building. They say it's character building. Some people take that as, oh, you can't do that these days. Not, but sometimes, you know, the hazing. It's the hazing thing that you get in a something like that. So I get my career under my belt, and then I think to myself, well, yeah, if I've got to get this itch. If I've got to do it, I've got to do it now. And I'm reaching my 30s. And I thought, well, once I'm trained so many years, I might be able to actually do something. So internet's a bit better these days. Facebook's around. I managed to tap up 2 places. One was the Portsmouth School of Wrestling, which you all know is the supply for Revolution Pro Wrestling, and the other one was Varsity Pro Wrestling, run by the UK Kid.
Yeah.
Now, I'd applied for the boot camp with Varsity Pro Wrestling over the weekend, and for that class of that boot camp was something special. We had a few people that came, disappeared, and then in that class was myself and Jamie Hayter. People would know as Jamie Hayter. You see every thing she's done now. And then once we got through the boot camp stage, sign up, go every week, you pay your money, you do your drills, you do your rolls, you do your bumps. What I will say about the UK Kids, I think he gets a lot of a shit off people for being a certain way. He's very instrumental in giving the foundations for some of the great wrestlers that you see on the indies, some that you might not see or know of, and then there's some people that you might see on TV. I mean, obviously Jamie Hayter ended up transitioning over to RevPro after a certain amount of time, and I think it's because the UK Kid teaches a certain way. You get all your fundamentals right, you get your footwork right, you get your bumping right, and everything else from there on, you just ask to learn. Also from Varsity Pro Wrestling School came Sky Smithson, someone else you get on well with. She is so underutilized, underrated. She should be miles ahead of where she is. And I think it's because of the way people tag her with the Varsity School Pro Wrestling, and being, I suppose, a protege of the UK Kid. Like I said, he gets a lot of flack. He's never done anything wrong by me. He's always treated me well. He's instilled that good base that I've got for footwork and all this timing stuff that some people don't get. And other people don't know as well. Jay White actually came through that school as well. My first ever match was with Jay White. This is New Japan Pro Wrestling Jay White. And it's a tag match, and this was a holiday camp. So people in wrestling pay their dues of holiday camp shows. It's a good way to practice your craft. It's a good way to try things out with your character. So I'll tell you a story. It's one of those real weird ones. They always say to you, when you started wrestling, make sure you've got some sort of basic gear and always carry it with you. This is one of those situations where I wish I'd had some basic gear and I'd carry it with me. Tom, the UK Kid, he's asked me if I'll run the guys up to the show, the holiday camp show. And I thought, yeah, I'll help put the ring up. This is part of the pay my dues. I help put the ring up. One of the guys no shows. So you've got me, Tom, Jay White, and Joe Bly, his name is. He went under the name Caden Delay or Caden Gray or something like that. So he ended up having a tag match. One of the guys didn't turn up, and we were rambling around trying to get myself some sort of ring gear put together. So I had some of my training gear with me. I had my knee pads. I ended up going out with some sort of singlet and a pair of shorts, which I trained in, which were just plain blue. So I think we got away with it look-wise, and it was an okay match. Actually, wasn't terrible. You think about having the first match, how nerve-wracking it is. I've got my picture of myself somewhere, having taken a selfie in front of the ring, and the nerves in my face. Oh my god, I speak a million things. But yeah, everything that I was taught by Tom worked. So we had these spots with Jay White, and I was taking drop kicks of Jay White. It's fantastic, and he's selling for me. He's given me so much good advice in the past. But back to this match, myself and Tom, we're working as the heels, and the heat is phenomenal to the point where we've got at the end of the match, even though the good guys have won, we've got these kids snapping open their toys and they're lobbing these batteries at us. It's, I'm loving it. I'm like just soaking it all in, and it's like this heel thing. It works, and it might be basic stuff. It might be collar cap stuff. That's the basics for anything when you work as a heel. I mean, I'm quite happy that that guy pulled out that day and gave me a chance. Strangely enough, on the same show, we had Marty Skull versus Andy Simmons. So, that was just I think Marty was just breaking into his villain gimmick, trying things out, and I think everything was ref by I forget his name. He's just passed as well, and God, I just remember the conversations backstage. And I'm kicking myself. These are all these pro wrestlers, and what am I meant to be doing? And Jay White's turned to me. He said, "Look, you've got this. You carry yourself really well. Just go out there and do that." And I did. I had Tom there holding my hand in a sense, but he literally called everything to me, making sure I was doing everything right. And it's so surreal. And in the same sense, yeah, it's one of those things you have to do. It's that first step that everyone has to take, and you lead on. And there was shows on after that, and I ended up. They ran shows at Portsmouth Guildhall for a while. I don't know what happened. I think like a money flow thing happens, like it happens because Portsmouth Guildhall is not cheap to run. And he had guys like Brodus Clay over, he had Finn Balor over before. Him in his transition between New Japan and going to WWE, he was there as Prince Devitt, and yeah, we got to meet these guys and take a bit of knowledge from them, take a bit of advice, listen to everything they had to say to us, and they've all been in the same boat. They've all done the same thing. For about 3 days straight, I was a chauffeur for Brodus Clay. there's some stories there.
What was that like? Because he's got quite a reputation himself.
Yeah. I don't want to go too much with that, but he seemed like a nice enough guy. A little bit on the moody side, but he told us one story about Heath Slater, and that's about it from him.
Don't really want to share much.
No, not really. But yeah, it's just surreal. You got all these people that you see on TV. I mean, obviously they get released, and then they do the indie scene, they do the UK, and you get to meet them, and then you can either pick your brains or, as Tom taught us most of the time, to be professional. We're here to work with them. We don't want to be there marking out like fans all the time. Some see that as a good thing, some see that don't. But some people will tell you get your photos when you can. You are a fan. Once everyone in the business is a fan. I suppose taking the thing from it is don't talk to them like they're a remark. Be respectful. If they're not in the mood to give you a picture or an autograph, respect their space. I mean, that's pretty much all you can say about that. I mean, eventually I did transition as well over to Rev Pro, just like Jamie Hayter did. Different kettle of fish there. I mean, so I've gone over there. I've got this good base, and then now I'm learning different things, and I've got in my head where I want to slot in. And at the time, they got their contenders division. I think Rob Lyas, Dan McGee, Curtis Chapman, those were the contenders at the time, and I'm thinking, okay, I'll give myself a few months, and I think if I get up to speed, I'll be on their level. And at the standard I was, I think, yeah, I could. Back then, a few years ago, I could kept up, no problem. But then again, I'm a different style wrestler. I used to be wrestle. I'm a different style wrestler than what they are. But then they're contenders division over at Rev Pros, so that you work without a character. You decide, you develop your character like the young lions from Japan, when they leave their role as a young lion, they travel the world and they develop their character and they come back. Like the Great Khan, he was with Rev Pro for a little while. He left New Japan, came back, and he's got this hitman gimmick, but he is brutal, you know. And the guy's such a nice guy. I didn't get to work with him lots when he was over, but you know, you get to do training matches with him, and you're thinking, geez, this guy is world class, and I'm getting to share a room with him. And this guy is taking DDTs off of me. He's taking clotheslines and these are big moves, you know, big guy moves. And I was gutted I never got a chance to actually have a match with him, whether it was on a camp show or something else like the Portsmouth Guild or Buckland. But yeah, I think there quickly it was apparent that there is a little bit of a click going on there. I think it happens anywhere where you've got a certain group of people and they get treated slightly different than everyone else. Maybe they'll get a little bit more opportunity than someone else. And I was always in the background. I'm always reliable. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. You look at my age, people don't, I'm nearly 40 now. I don't look 40. People say, oh, you look 29, 30. Like, the last time I had a conversation like that with someone was like, they said 26, but maybe not now. Yeah, so I sat down and had a conversation with Andy Q, and he obviously, I've got that VPW tar brush all over me, and I'm thinking maybe that's probably going to hold me back. So I sat down, had a talk with him. I said, what do you want from me? And he just said, some loyalty. I want loyalty from you. And I went, okay, that I can do. I've been with Rev Pro for 6 years. That's criminal. That's criminal that I've been in there for 6 years. I've not had a chance.
You got to work a few shows, haven't you? You've done like Buckland Community Centre, which I know is, you know, the trainee shows and stuff like that. Yeah. But
so they have these trainee shows, but they'll have an idea of who's been attending a lot compared to, say you've got a 10-week run up to a show. Someone who has attended most of their training sessions up to that show and you know, it has improved or is it a decent standard will get a spot. I've got no issue with that. You know, someone's working hard, they've got the time to do that.
He's reasonable.
Someone like myself, like I said, with my age, I've got 3 kids, I've got a mortgage, I've got a full-time job. On top of that, I've got to do all the other things you need to do in wrestling as well. Keep yourself fit, lift weights, you know, watch your diet. And this is when I start bringing my personal life into a little bit. Andy Q knew, and Andy Simmons, who ran at the time as well. I'm not going to shit on Andy Simmons because he's one person who's actually always had my back as well.
Your podcast, mate. You say what you want to say.
Yeah. I have 3 children, and all 3 of them are special needs. And I don't mean, you know, you get these people who push special needs down people's throats all the time. I don't say it. I don't tell people about it a lot. But it's hard work, you know, where you've got, say someone has a child with Down syndrome, their whole life is devoted to that one child, let alone any other children they've got, having to deal with that in their own life and their own job and everything else that comes with it. I've got 3 of those. And They're all different. They got this thing called 22q duplication. It's like having Down syndrome, but you looking at them, you wouldn't say that they do, because there's not always physical traits when it comes to it. Two of my kids are autistic, and they're both completely separate ends of the spectrum. One's shy, and he'll break down and cry at anything when he's pressured into. The other one's like a bloody Tasmanian devil, and he'll rip up your living room like that. And you go home from work, and what's he been up to? You've got mum's makeup all over the wall, and you've got to try and sort that out as well. And there's tears everywhere. And at the end of the day, that comes first before you've got to get your training gear on and head down to Portsmouth to go and do training. And some days you'll get home from work, you've done 12 hours on your feet, lifting concrete blocks, working up and down a ladder, you've done your 15K, you've done 15K, I've done a step counter, you do 15K a day. And then people tell me I'm not doing enough cardio. I get home, I've got to deal with all that. I've got to try and have a shower, make myself strong and presentable, and be on time for training. Oh, by the way, I've still got to go to the gym as well. There's only so many hours in the day. So I've given 6 years to Repro, and they say they might say they're giving chances. They might not. They might even watch the podcast. I'm not giving a fuck. Who cares? I've always been really reliable for them. They've come to a point. I remember the last show I did for them. Sky was actually at this show, and I'm going to tell this story. I'm not going to mention names, but this is one of the biggest things that pissed me off. So shows get announced, the talent gets announced beforehand, so you can plug it on social media. Mr. X and Mr. Y are going to have this match. It's going to be, this stipulation or not, whatever. So they've got 10 weeks to promote their place on this show. They also means because these people are announced in advance, they get spot on a poster. Some people don't turn up to training, and some people get a spot on those posters, whether they deserve them or not. Sometimes it's due to physique, and that's one thing that pisses me off. I've been on one poster for RevPro, and this specific guy has been on every single poster since. He was on that poster as well, actually. I'll add. He never really turned up to training, and I think it was the Wednesday before that show on the Saturday, Buckland. We were doing our usual stuff, warm-ups, rolls, bumps, hitting the ropes, and then doing just tags in and out, what they call. So basically, you're keeping your technical stuff up to scratch and decent enough. And I can see the two Andys at the corner of my eye talking. And then Andy Sims comes to me and says, Gav, what are you doing Saturday? Now, having the foresight, I've already planned ahead. I've said to the wife, look, I haven't got a spot on the show yet. Probably not going to get a spot on the show, but I'm going to go down Saturday, help with the ring, help with merch, whatever, do music, because it's part of paying your dues. At 38-year-old, after being in it for 6 years, that's still part of paying your dues. So I answered back as I was, yeah, I'm down Saturday anyway. What's the problem? Oh, you'll be facing this guy. Okay, where is he? Let's have a bit of a throw together with a match. Let's do something today. All right, he's not here. Is he going to be down Saturday? No, he's not. He's just going to turn up to the venue half an hour before the ring gets there. So I've turned up with Miss Smithson, and this is her first, I say small show for RevPro, but it might even be first show for RevPro. She's got Zan Phoenix. Now these two work really well all together all the time.
Great workers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is, but Sky brings out the best in Zan Phoenix from all the shows that I've seen them on. And I think they had a decent enough match at that show for Andy Q to say, right, I should really be booking Sky more often. And I'll put Sky over to the Calco sign. She's so underrated. It's unbelievable. Again, I think it is the VPW tile with that. So before the show, people don't realize what happens, or maybe they do. We set the ring up, we set the chairs up. The guys who've got major bits in the show will go for any big spots they need to iron out, make sure that it's legitimately able to be done. So I managed to corner the guy, managed to get him in the ring, and Sky's listening in the outside just to kind of oversee things. With the brain that she's got, she kind of always has my back to make sure I'm not doing anything silly, I'm not doing anything that's not what's the word? Nothing that doesn't make sense. So at this point, no one's told us who's going over yet. Yeah, but I'm presuming this guy's going over. He's on the poster. He's the good guy. He's going over. So
yeah,
I'll work out some stuff with him. And halfway through calling it, he leans back in the turnbuckle and he goes, "If you want a shit match, you have a shit match." I mean, what do you do when someone says that to you? You're trying to put them over.
Is this during the match or before?
This is before the match.
It's like the warm up kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So we go through our rolls and our stretches and stuff, and we try and piece together what this match is going to be like.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, well, we're two big guys. We'll lay some in a bit. We've got some little spots in there with some lifting spots. So, you know, I'll be this sort of heel, and I'll put the guy over, and you know, we both look good out of it.
Mm.
It got to about a third way through that match. We did a little spot where we did some stuff on the outside. I let him light me up, chop me to bits on the outside so the kids could see it and hear it.
Yeah.
And then he rolled me in the ring, and then we do some stuff. Whether he decided he just didn't want to go and do what we were meant to be doing or not. So the guy's strong. We'll say that. He goes to give me a scoop slam, so which I'm not expecting, but I've posted for it, knowing that he can. Dumps me on my side and completely knocks the wind right out of me. I don't know if that's some sort of statement he tried to think, or whether he wasn't happy with the way I was calling the match with him before. So there's me working winded. I'm kind of like, okay, I've got to try and salvage something out of this. And I think to myself, right, we've got this spot coming up. Okay, we can work to that. I can do a bit of stuff with him. Do some more striking. It's a bit all over the place because I'm trying to get him to work to the position where he needs to be at. And the next spot is where I suplex him. Don't go over with him, but I drape him on the ropes. And at that point, the guy sandbags me. And I'm like, okay, you meant to, did he not hear me? Have I not counted him in? Have I not? I'm thinking this is my fault. I think this must be my fault. Okay, so I count him in again. He doesn't go. Oh, for fuck's sake! At that point, I'm really pissed off with him. So I eventually managed to get him on the rope. It looked gash. And the next spot after this is I knock him off. Safely, he takes a bump to the floor, and then we do like a weird 10 count thing on the outside. It all makes sense. People who are privy to the calling of the match beforehand will say it makes sense. So I go to knock him off the apron. He doesn't go. I'm like, okay, is he trying to make this look a bit more realistic? So I super kick him. And I don't gently super kick him. I super kick quite hard in the chest. He still doesn't go. I thought, well, fuck this then. I'm going to do the old Godfather thing, hoe train. He needs to know what we're doing. So I'll go, do the pump up, run towards the ropes, run back, and the guy starts walking to the corner. What the fuck is he doing? So he gets in the ring. I'm trying to call stuff under my hair to him, and he's just laying some kicks and punches in. I'm like, well, I know what his finish is, and I know what the spot leading up to the finish is. Right, so I take a drop kick. I'm not going to go down because I'm saying there's a big guy. He does something else, take a big knee. I don't go down because I'm a big guy. gives me a drop kick off the top. Because I'm a big guy, that's what it's going to take me down. That's the science that goes behind that match. So he overshoots it. I still bump, even though he's missed me. And then he sets me up for a finish. This finish, he's said to me before what it is. I didn't understand what it was. I was expecting something like a claymore. And I thought that's a really good finish. I can get down with that. And what it invariably ended up being was a step up in Zaguri. So he's given me a gut kick, so I'm down, and then he's given me a step up in Zaguri, unprotected, because I'm expecting a claymore. He actually knocked me out, clean out for about 2 seconds. I was out on my back. My shoulder was under the rope, and all I remember at that point was trying to shuffle myself back in the ring so that he could get his 3 count. And upon the 3 count, the ref at the time, Harry Mills, I will drop his name because he's a fucking good lad, checked straight on me because he knew exactly what happened. And he's like, "You okay? Do you need anything?" I'm like, "Well, just give me 2 seconds. I'm going to get my head straight and I'll be out the ring." So at this point, the guy had done his celebration. Everyone's cheering. I'm still laid in the ring, and Andy Q's getting in the ring to start calling the next match. Just as I'm rolling out the ring. And there's a bit at the end where I point and I shout at him, "It's your fault." And that was real. That was real. And we got backstage. I mean, this story's going on a bit long, but I need to let everyone know this.
All right.
We go backstage, we sit down. Sky is there ready to calm me down because she knows I'm fucking fuming.
Such an angel.
Yep. So I'm visibly pissed off. For some reason, the other guy's pissed off as well. For some reason. So Andy Q comes back after announcing the next match, and he just goes to this guy, "Well, that was a match, wasn't it? Didn't even come and talk to me. Didn't even come and check to see if I was all right. Just had to go and protect his #1 golden boy." That's 6 years of being loyal for you.
The last time you worked for Red Pro?
I think I might have had a Survivor Series style match with them that year, and that would have been the last one, lockdown.
Yeah.
But again, it's one of these always being last to be slot into somewhere, not being on any match graphics, not being on any posters, not being a focal point because, look at me, I'm different. I'm not massively muscular, but I'm tall. I'm 6 foot, okay? That's tall for these guys. People see me all the time in the shops like, that's Jimmy Uso. It's not Jimmy Uso, but if your kid wants to think I'm like Jimmy Uso, that's okay.
Not a bad comparison, is it? I mean, Jimmy Uso is fucking amazing. So.
It's kind of like wanting to pigeonhole me as Umaga, as a knockoff Umaga, and I don't want that. I get it. It's something, but if you're not selling me as Umaga, what you fucking selling me as?
Yeah.
So these are the things that really bug me as well. It's like not just those matches. We'll have guests come down and do the old training sessions. They'll take special training sessions with us. And recently the last guy we had was Rhino, and it had nothing but good things to say about my group because we did stuff in groups. We had guys like Mal Sanders come down and they'll say you and Crusher Curtis. We had Crusher Curtis. Me and him, we said you should work together as a team. It'd be fucking brilliant. And it just falls on deaf ears. It's like stuff like that is money, but nobody's picking up on it, And we had who else we have? I forget his name. Marty Jones, and that might be a swear word these days. Again, he's never had an issue with me. I had an issue with him. We actually share a birthday, so we have a little joke about that every now and then. He was known for basically just beasting everyone for 2.5 hours. And the last thing he said to me was, good for you for keeping up with everybody, and that's because of my size.
Yeah.
Now,
What a compliment.
Yep. This is it. I've always been getting compliments from someone. One of the nicest compliments I had was from Dean Ayers. He came down and did a promo.
Yeah, great mic worker.
Yeah. And the guys we had there, we were there to learn. We did some good stuff. Now, whether people know or not, I'm straight edge. It's a legit thing. Don't drink, don't do drugs, don't smoke. So I was cutting promos about being straight edge. I mean, it's not incredibly original, but when you're a straight edge Samoan, now that's original. So I was cutting promos about being straight edge Samoan, and Dean loved it. Up to the point where the Andes came and they talked to him afterwards, or towards the end of the session. He was like, yeah, these two guys, he mentioned me and he mentioned Will Castle. And he said, those two, they're good, but they're really good. The only feedback I got of him was I like to script my promos, so I know where I'm going with stuff. Not too dissimilar to The Rock, I suppose. You got bullet points, you know how to talk. I think I've just been scared to talk in front of people, but now it's getting to that point where if you give me a microphone in front of people at Bucklands, at a Mountbatten Centre, and I've got a chance to talk to these people, maybe I can get a reaction from them. Maybe they'll boo that straight edge Samoan, because at the end of the day, he's straight edge and he's better than every single one of you. Or you can do it the other way around. And he's straight edge and he's the good guy, and he draws his strength from all the goodness from these youngsters in the front row, the guys who don't want, who don't drink, don't do drugs, who don't smoke. There's something there you can be done with it. But now we've had this pandemic. We're looking at the tail end of things. We're looking at wrestling shows coming back. I'm on the fence about doing stuff now. I mean, I've got some dates and some people I will work for always. Shout out to CWP or Nitro. He's someone who's always had time for me, and that proves it. I've looked after him. He's looked after me. I've not always had the full creative of what I wanted to do, but I'm getting to do a little bit of what I want to be, what Eddie Kenway needs to be. And one of the best things is I get to do with some people that I like. Sky Spitzer's been a rock the whole time for the last 6, 7, 8 years. We've been best friends. We've gone to see shows. We've gone to places like UPW. These shows. There's a nice story to do with that as well. I might divulge that one if you've got time for it.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah, back on the cases, like people shit on Robbie Nitro as well.
Yeah, they do a lot. Yeah, I hear a lot because obviously you know me, I work there as well. Yeah, I hear a lot of things.
I mean, he runs a charity promotion. He doesn't make money out of this. He does it to give back to people because he's had a shit life.
Yeah, it's a community guy.
He relates to people. Yeah, and he admits he's not the best wrestler in the world. He likes to go out there and have some fun. I mean, I think yourself reviewed a hardcore match I had with him. Wasn't the best show and the best match of the night, but
I was honest.
At the end of the day, that match was pretty much 80% called in the ring, and it was my first ever hardcore match. I had no idea what the hell it was going to be like, and I had some criticism backstage, but at the end of the day, it was a match. We had some fun. I looked after him. He looked after me.
I didn't hate it. It just wasn't my favourite match on the card.
Yeah, so. I mean, yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah, the hardcore match that you had, like I said, I didn't hate it at all. But I'm honest. I don't bullshit anybody, as you know. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I think one of the things for me was the fact that a guy of your size should really lay his shit in. Like I will not tolerate big guys not laying their shit in, because I'm a big guy as well. So there's nothing worse when you go to training and you put a forearm in and you do it safely, but you do it with a bit of force, and somebody goes, "Oh, don't do that." And it's just like, mate, I'm 350 pounds and I'm 6'4". What the fuck else am I supposed to do? If I love tap you, people are going to know that looks shit. So that was just my critique, but I didn't hate the match. I still enjoyed it, and I like Robbie as well. A lot of people don't like Robbie. They've got plenty of things to say behind his back, but ultimately, he's been very good to me.
Yeah, this is it. The guys at Rev Pro say, don't go work there. It's just a shitty old two-piece company. It's like, I need somewhere to get my practice.
Work is work. Yeah. Why would you tell anyone not to work somewhere? Like, ultimately, surely the bread and butter, like it's a family orientated company. It's like working a camp show. You're in front of kids, families. Like, you shouldn't turn your nose up at any booking, as far as I'm concerned, unless they obviously have a horrendous reputation for, mistreating people.
Yeah. I mean, there's one or two promotions I've done some favors for. They promised me money and it's never materialized, so I'm not working for them anymore. I mean, quite recently, I say I've fallen out with a guy. He's been one of those tinfoil hat people, and I just don't want to talk to him anymore. So,
it's not Austin Aries, is it?
No,
he loves that stuff.
No.
Well, can I ask you something? Let me jump in for a sec. When you had that match at Rev Pro and you got knocked out, a lot of people listening to this will say, and I'm not here to cast judgment or aspersions, people are more than welcome to come on here and have their piece as well if they want. But ultimately, when you're knocked out in the ring and you go backstage and the promoter, for whatever reason, doesn't approach you, doesn't check in on your well-being, especially when the referee has, and has probably relayed that to him as well, that, Eddie's taken a bit of a knock there for whatever reason. Mentally, do you not feel that at that point that shows a real kind of negligence to your employees? Because ultimately you're still an employee to this guy. You're working for him over a weekend. And not only that, you were doing a favor as well. You weren't scheduled to be there. So do you feel that Andy Quildan was negligent towards you? And do you feel like he should be responsible for
that? I think I took that as the norm there. Like, I think maybe because he didn't have an investment in what I was doing.
Yeah.
Maybe probably didn't. Maybe he didn't know, and maybe he would have checked if he did. And invariably, I don't think it matters, because it was just a match to him. It wasn't anything important. It just put the guy over.
But he's also the owner of the company. Is he not responsible for your well-being?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right about that.
I'm not asking you to shit on Andy Quildan. I don't dislike Andy.
No, I mean,
but when I hear it, how I hear it, what I've just been told is you got knocked out in the ring. And that would have been, let's be honest, mate, when someone like you gets knocked out, it's pretty obvious. Like, you are not exactly a tiny human being. You are a super heavyweight. You're a big, meaty hoss of a man, which, of course, is why you're very favorable on this podcast, because you love hosses. But, if I hear somebody tell me, I got knocked out in the ring, and then a promoter didn't even really approach me and just kind of palm me off, a golden boy over there, questions should have been asked.
Yeah, like I said, I've kind of taken that as normal for my position there. I think I only really ever had one match that got a bit of advertisement for, that I got to put quite a bit of input for it too, and I've got to thank James Ty for that, because myself and Matt Grayson took on James Ty and Andy Simmons. Again, I'm not going to shit on Andy Simmons because he's always looked after me. But James Ty in that match said, "Right, what are we doing?" And I said, "Well, there's this one thing I've done once before. I want to put it in the match." And he's like, "Okay, what's that?" I said, "Well, double Samoan drop. Get you and Andy on there. It'd be nice to pop for the night. People will remember me for that one little thing." That's what they say, isn't it?
Yeah.
Try and make people remember that one thing about you. And we managed to work it into the match. Some people say it looked a bit pony, but how the hell are you going to get two people on your shoulder without legitimately deadlifting them off the floor? We did it from a corner spot, so whatever. But it was impressive. It was on the first match of the night, and I was told by several people it was the match of the night. So I thank them for that, Andy and James, because like Andy being the guy he is doesn't have to put me over. Invariably we lost the match, myself and Matt, but there was a starting point there for us as a tag team, and it never took off. And I want to know why. I'd like to know why, because we had a fucking fantastic match that night.
Yeah.
To the point where people will remember this spot, people will remember the Samoan guy, if he said anything, and I'm working as a face. I can easily work both ways. It's never been an issue. I just want someone that's referee to say, well, we want you to fully commit to one or the other. I could just want to be this guy who fills in on every single show because you need a good guy, or just because you need a bad guy. Maybe I need to be the guy.
Do you believe after 6 years of loyalty that you've earned enough loyalty and you've got enough, loyalty in the bank, so to speak, for lack of a better term, that you should be treated a little bit better?
Yeah, I mean, so we'll talk about the other stuff as well, like the airport runs, to stay up to ridiculous times in the morning.
Yeah,
driving people home that have nothing to do with the actual talent that are in the ring, that are just trainees. They're trainees in the same boat, and you've got to drive back from London with them, dropping them all off at different spaces. You're the last one home at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I've got to get up at 5:30 for work. If that doesn't show loyalty, what does? Okay, I might not be at next Wednesday's training session, or I might not be at next Sunday's training session, or I might not be at the next show. But I'm not saying I want to be at Portsmouth Guildhall in their main event. I'm not saying I want to be at York at their main event. Yeah, it'd be fantastic, but it would be nice to be regular at Buckland. It'd be nice to be regular at I keep getting the other one now. But something a bit bigger as well.
Yeah.
Mountbatten, yeah. I mean, I kind of am a regular at Mountbatten, but I think that's because they need the numbers rather than, do you know what? Out of the people that are going to be announced, I want to be one of the first 4. I don't think they've ever had that. Gav, how about you're going to be like double main event? Gav, how about you're going to be the opener with so and so? You've got 4 weeks to run a bit of social media presence for it. I mean, I do social media stuff anyway, whether I'm on a match or not. I've always pushed RevPro stuff. I've always pushed on demand stuff. I've gone out of my way to take time off work to go and run Colt Cabana. I mean, the guy is fucking brilliant. I love talking to him. I love having him in the car. But at the end of the day, I've lost out on £1,800 worth of work to drop Colt Cabana off to the York Hall and then back to his hotel at the airport. And then get home at 4 o'clock in the morning and nearly miss the next day's work. But, that doesn't seem loyal enough. And then, don't question my cardio because, okay, I'm a big guy, but we work around being a big guy. I mean, I've got to train like all the other guys. I mean, you do 100 squats. Some people, this is one thing that really, really fucking bugs me. Someone who I know, who's meant to be my friend, says, if you can't do 100 body weight squats, you shouldn't really be looking at being in the business, like even to training. Right? The guy's what, 16 stone max maybe? Try doing it when you're 24 fucking stone, man. Try doing 100 push-ups when you're 24 fucking stone. Try doing a drop-down leapfrog when you're 24 fucking stone.
Yeah. Do you think that because of your size, they haven't recognised enough that, well, the guy's 24 stone, he's a unit. You shouldn't be launching around doing crazy high-flying international spots. He should be leveling people. That's what he does. He's a destroyer. Like, Reach Academy is a really good example of that down in Cornwall. They have 2 whopping great units of men. They're called the Monsters of Men, Redwood and Silverback. And their trainer and owner actually said to me, yeah, we don't get them to run the ropes because they're fucking massive and they shouldn't be running the ropes. Like, we want them to be able to run the ropes, but when they're in matches, I want to see them doing this. I don't want to see them doing international. I want to see them doing hurricane runners or whatever. Do you feel like Rev Pro is almost, judging from that comment that's come from somebody, do you think there's maybe an insinuation of, it doesn't matter that you're 24 stone, you should do everything that we do, you know, as opposed to maybe focus, because there's ways of focusing your cardio and your strength and your training around your size as well. Like I'm a big guy like you know, we're a similar kind of body set. So, you know, I basically look at playing to my strengths, and I think all wrestlers should play to their strengths. Do you not think you're afforded that opportunity enough at Rev Pro?
Yeah, I don't think so somehow. Yes.
Because you're the biggest guy there, like in terms of like proper hoss.
Yeah.
Like you,
Yeah.
because obviously they've got big body guys, but they haven't got a big unit like you know, like a Crusher Curtis, you know, for lack of a better term, like an Umaga. I know you don't like being compared, but I mean, he was a legend to me.
Yeah, no, it's not like I don't like being compared. It's just like
don't want to be pigeonholed.
I'm not the next Umaga. I'm the first fucking Eddie Kenway.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you think people, because you're, because of obviously being a straight edge Samoan, do you think people automatically just, do you think it's lazy for people to assume because you're Samoan that, oh, he's like Umaga, oh, he might be like Yokozuna or whatever? Or is there, or do you feel that maybe a little bit of that's on you? Because ultimately you're the guy who represents yourself. You're the guy who says to people, I'm a straight edge Samoan. Do you think that there needs to be a bit of leeway there? Or do you think that people should be like, no, don't fucking associate me with those other wrestlers, associate me as me?
As fans, it's no problem. You know, that guy looks like, so it's for a kid to relate me to something. Okay, I look like Umaga or one of the Usos. And one of the most ridiculous ones I had was I was at a cinema and the girl behind the counter said, "Oh, you look like Roman Reigns," and I'm like, "Okay."
You definitely got the hair.
She did the whole put the hand out on my hand sort of thing, but the problem was my wife was stood right there. She found it absolutely fucking hilarious, like being hit on by a girl behind the counter because she thinks I look like Roman Reigns. But like in that situation, it's fine.
Yeah.
But when you're training and your teachers or mentors want you to be something. They want you to be like something, not actually that thing. It's like, okay, well, I think at the same, we'll go back to this terrible, awful shit show of a match. At that show, I had some entrance music made up. Entrance music sometimes isn't fucking cheap, and it's something that you invest in as your character.
Yeah.
Quite lazily, I was given Umaga's theme by Andy Q, and I said, if you're going to do that, could you at least make it the good one? Because they gave me the second one, which is basically just a load of jungle noises. They didn't even give me the good one from his first run, and I was like, you just don't care. I've spent so much money on this fucking theme tune.
Why did he not use your entrance music? Because I've heard that. It's really good.
Yeah, he just didn't want that. Wasn't even entertaining the idea. He's like, nah, you can just go out to Umaga's music. Okay, whatever. He's got in his head whether he wants to use me for stuff or whether he doesn't. For him, all I want it to be is a regular name on his local shows.
Yeah.
If he ever thinks I'm good enough to go on his bigger shows, then that's for him to put forward. Maybe approach me one day saying, "Oh, I've got a spot here if you want it." But I don't think it's ever coming. Where it puts me now is an awkward position. It's like, well, after this lockdown, do I go back to Rev Pro and go through the same shit I've gone through for the last 6 years, or do I look at pastures new, or do I give it up and stop? I mean, something back here is telling me, do you for once. Stuff the loyalty now. I mean, you get treated better elsewhere, and I know I'll get treated better elsewhere, and I will get used for local shows, and that's pretty much what I want. So if it turns out that I burn my bridges with Rev Pro, and I probably will on the back of this, someone's very bound to tell him, your loss.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Behind you, I have to point it out, is your No Limits Championship. Yeah, there's a few questions that come with that. One is, why have I not got a fucking title shot yet? But that's neither here nor there. I know what Dan Barnstall's doing. He's protecting you. I know exactly what he's up to. I know exactly what he's doing. And I bet if Sky was cornered, she'd say, I think that would be a great match. And I shall pressure her for that when she finally comes on this podcast, because she's ducking me as well. No, I love her dearly. I want to talk about the takeover, because that's such a cool little concept, and it's a cool little faction. It's you, it's Dan Barnstall, it's Sky Smithson, it's been Ian Logan. These are all fucking cool people, and I really like the idea of it. And obviously my first exposure, remember when I covered that match of yours with Robbie, and I remember going to that show and seeing the takeover. You got a great gimmick, great show, and obviously Dan Barnstall's one of the best mic workers in the business. He's so good at talking. He's so cool and calm and collected, and also really lovely guy who's always had time for me, always willing to push for me when other people thought I was nobody and should be in the background. So I've always appreciated that. What's it like being around Dan and the takeover and everything that comes with it? Because for me, that feels like you've had an opportunity to show who you are, who Eddie Kenway is, and be creative within yourself and not be pigeonholed.
This is exactly that. Because it was Sky and Ian took the conscious effort to, and Dan as well, to bring me on board to do this little faction and have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah.
Heel factions are a thing. They you've had the NWO, you've had the Degenerates, Generation X, and it's just been a good way of having fun. Having a fun, good laugh with your mates, and getting to do the thing that you love doing is wrestling. You're getting to do it with your friends, people that you like hanging around with. This goes back to like Robbie giving me a chance. I think I had one, maybe two matches on his cards beforehand, before they thought about putting me with Takeover. Takeover, we always talked about how cool would it be to go to Buckland, take over a match there, literally take over the show, or even branch out a little bit further and do something else in one of their bigger shows. It probably never would have come to fruition, but the possibilities are there. We had this faction, and there, you've got some good names in there, and also in there, people don't know about, the Executioner was there for a while, Gary Wars, who's him and Ian were a tag team for a while back, and I think there's something Ian maybe wanted to do again, but within the realms of Takeover, it worked just, it would have worked so well. You could get potential for tag team champions, as well as Sky was the women's champion. You got me, I ended up with the No Limits championship, and we just wanted to take it elsewhere. UPW were conscious of us. They know that because they had Dan was a big thing with UPW. Yeah. Why couldn't we work our way in there a little bit? But yeah, it's one of those things that, spoiler alert, it may or may not be a full takeover going forwards. There's some talk in the works of what's going to happen now, obviously, because things need to change direction after this pandemic. Because look at Walter's reign as the WWE UK champion.
Yeah.
Me as the No Limits championship just fucking eclipses that. I've got a good 300 or 400 days of Walter. Fuck you, Walter.
That's a long time. I hit Volta. I'm going to tag Volta in this. He'll love to hear that. No Limits versus the UK champion would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
I think I'm somewhere near the 1,000 mark at the moment. 1,000 days.
Bloody hell! Is that why you don't want to give me a title shot? Because you don't want anyone friend? I've seen you wrestling all these wee nippers like Aaron Cruz and Ebenezer. That's all very well and good, mate. Let's see how you do with a 350 pounder. Give us a chance, mate. All I want is one title run before I retire. That's it. Nobody will put a belt on me. They fear me. Yeah, man, I love that. And by the way, you've got the new belt as well, which is gorgeous. That is a beautiful belt to behold. It really is.
Yeah, that is my personal trophy to myself.
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I thought to myself, if I never accomplish anything else again in my life, whether it be getting any opportunity with Rev Pro, whether it's any more titles at CWP, whether UPW decide that they want to use me after all this time I've been trying to do stuff with them, that's just a reminder that I did this one thing once and it meant something to me.
I mean, you still bring it to the ring, don't you? It's not like you only use the original one.
There's talk of me bringing it to the ring and using
Should
it.
do. Looks fucking amazing. Who made it?
John Nursel.
Oh, I know John. He's a friend of mine. Yeah, he makes the best belts. He's the guy you want to be speaking to. He is so good. 3DFX. He makes beautiful belts. Yeah, we'll tag him in the description of the podcast because he's definitely worth a hit up if you need a belt. Fair enough, mate. I mean, you've had plenty to say. Is there anything in particular else you'd like to talk about before I throw a couple of random hilarious questions at you?
Yeah, let's have a look. I wanted to tell my story about UPW. That's a good one. So they had what they call it, the Next Generation show. They did a show in Yeovil. This is the only opportunity I ever got with them. Basically, it was a training show. They get to get some other people in as well. Just to kind of test some talent out, I suppose. And they'd approached me, or I'd managed to get myself in, I can't remember. And I was going to be working Curtis Chapman. Not a bad match there, if you think about it.
Yeah, great wrestler.
So immediately, Curtis has come to me. He's like, right, traveling is a little bit of an issue. Do you mind if I jump in with you? Yep, no problem. Am I allowed to bring my girlfriend along as well? Yep, no problem, because my wife's coming, Sky's coming, I've got a full car. It's good support. Be some good support there for us.
More bodies, yeah. You need more bodies, man.
Yeah, and it means Sky's going to be there as, again, like a third voice when you call on your match. She's going to be there helping them out with the ring, helping out with their refs and stuff, because I think on that day they had a ref training seminar, and she actually ended up taking it like off the cuff, literally just taking it for them. She's there as buying a ticket as well. Girlfriend's there as buying a ticket. So you're making money, even after the expenses from myself and Curtis Chapman. So later on, they announced Lion Kid. This is what I'm going to name. So, fucking front door.
It's Lion Kid. Or maybe it's Volta. He's like, you got something to say?
6.5 hours later.
Yeah, so a couple of weeks later, they announced Lion Kid. And he drops me a message. Have you got any space in your car? Would I be able to come up?
In the boat.
And I said, oh, no, sorry, mate. I can't. I've got a full car. I wasn't rude about it. And I've got a full car. Wife's coming up. It's a long drive from Gosport to Yeovil. I will say that's a very fucking long drive. And so we get up, gets closer to the show, and Lion Kid texts me back again. You sure you got no room for me in the car? I said, no, I'm taking myself. Taking Curtis Chapman. Got Sky coming with me. She's a UPW regular. The girlfriends and the wives are coming. Got no room in the car. Then you think 5-seater car with two or three workers' suitcases in the back. You've got no fucking room at all. Not even to wedge someone else in there.
Yeah.
And then he starts getting all arsey with me. I'm like, oh, don't you think maybe because I'm a veteran, you should be taking me up? Blah blah blah.
Wow.
I said, well, no, because I've got a full car. It's already organised. Can't you make your wife take a different car or something? I'm like, what? You trying to get me to take 2 cars up? So I've got to pay twice amount sets of fuel just to take you up. I said, surely you should have sorted out your expenses with whoever's running the show. It's Mark at the time, but he went a bit funny with me then, and then all of a sudden there's a group message from Mark saying, oh, I'm just going to confirm everyone's travel expenses, blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake. He's had a moan to Mark now about me, hasn't he? Because I won't give him a lift. Okay, what's this about? And Mark said, just confirming that I'm paying you per mile. Yeah, it's fine. How many miles is it? Now, I underestimated my mileage. I'll tell you this now. I underestimated because I worked it out through Google Maps and it gave me a straight point to point.
Yeah,
To say it was 50 miles, whatever. Now, I actually drove probably 3 times that going down all these roads. So I underdid myself there. So I got underpaid for that, but that's my fault. But on the back of that, I've had a match with Curtis Chapman, and it was a decent match for someone who was pretty green, myself. And I think Curtis looked after me a bit, and maybe in the ring he was putting himself in spots that he didn't need to be putting himself in. It's like, okay, let me do my stuff. Don't need to babysit me too much. Yeah. And we put on a good match, and I know it was a good match because Sky told me. If I was shit, she would have told me it was shit. We did the crossbody off the top into the world's strongest slam spot. So Curtis Chapman comes off the top rope, catch him out of midair, hold him for ages, and then give him a world's strongest slam. Massive pop. And from what I gather, I thought, oh, that went really well. Now, while all this is going on, Curtis's girlfriend, my wife, and Sky are sat in front of the merch table. Now, we know as wrestlers, when we attend shows, we try to keep ourselves at the back, not in anyone's view. Don't take anything away from what's going on in the ring.
Yeah.
Now, my wife, Curtis's girlfriend, and Sky over here, Lion Kid's girlfriend on the merch table selling his stuff, moaning about me. And then I think Lion Kid's on the table as well, trying to sell his foam fingers. And there was rumours of him starting on me after the match, after the show. Sorry. Needless to say, it didn't happen.
Oh dear.
I think at this point, he came up to the changing room, and he came in. Me and Curtis, before the match, were sat there wrapping our wrists up and that lot, and he said, "Oh, I want to talk to you." And I said, "Fine." I shuffled down my bench and I said, "Come sit here, talk. Don't mind." Going on, wrapping my wrists up. He's like, "No, I'll talk to you after the show." And then everything I heard from my wife downstairs, because she'd been texting me. Oh, his girlfriend says he's going to be starting on you later after the show. It says that's fine. I'll wait around. So I let everyone leave after the show. Check with Mark. Yeah, we put on a good match, mate. Okay, cool. Expecting there might be some more work for me coming my way. And then I'm waiting around for Lion Kid. And now I'm waiting in the main hallway. There's nowhere else for anyone to go. For some reason, the little weasel manages to get in his car, and do the off before bumping into me.
What a melt!
all over me not giving him the lift.
Wow. Any spoilers as to what might have happened? Should he have actually followed through on his promise?
Yeah, I think you can imagine what would have happened.
Fair enough. World's Strongest Slam Part 2. Simple as that, really.
Now, I will say I tried to make it up to him a little bit later on down the line with the show with Kapow.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get a lift in. I say couldn't get a lift in. So it's like, is anyone free to pick him up? Well, oh, okay, I can swing by. It's a little bit out of my way, but I'll swing by and pick him up. Okay, so I went to go pick him up. I said to him, I believe you've had some transport issues. You want to jump in? We'll head down to the show. Oh yeah, thanks, Gav. And it was like, oh, it wasn't that I couldn't travel. I was just seeing if anyone wanted to split expenses or anything. Like, so I've gone out of my way. You could have come down. And, I've tried to make it up to him by coming to pick him up. Like, okay, just whatever. It is what it is. I was like,
honestly, I thought I was sensitive, mate.
Tried to big league me a few times.
Fun. Any other stories you want to share, mate?
I can't thinking off the top of my head, but
Fair dues, fair dues. I do have word association, which I'm really looking forward to with you. So I want you to tell me one word that comes to mind whenever I mention this individual's name, and you can be as honest or as dishonest as you like. However, before I do, I don't know if you've noticed your Twitter account over the last couple of hours.
No.
One Cameron Anderson has made it official, and he called you out on Twitter. He's a good friend of the podcast, Cameron. He's somebody who trains with me down at Quality. What do you have to say to Cameron? Because poor Cameron, he's 19 years old and about 10 stone, maybe, if soaking wet. He's a very small lad. He's basically Aaron Cruz 2.0 in a lot of ways. Probably slightly more charisma. No offense, Aaron. What do you think about Cameron Anderson calling you out on Twitter?
Yeah, bring it. I don't mind. I will wrestle anybody.
Robbie Nitro, book that match, please. It won't last very long, so it won't take up too much time. And I'm sure Cameron will do it for a hot dog and a handshake, because apparently that's the thing in wrestling. But there you go.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in particular you want to defend that belt against?
Other than yourself? I don't think it would make much sense to defend it against you, but
Why would it not make sense to defend it against me?
Both heels, I think, would be much.
I just assume I'm a heel. Crowd loves me. Classic heel maneuver. I'm delusional, mate. Crowd loves me. What are you talking about? I got quite the pop when I came out in that fatal 4-way, even though I was meant to be a heel, but don't worry about it. I was like, what are you cheering for? Shut up. Good fun.
Us meaty hosses have got to stick together. So
at least put me in the takeover then or something, or give me a tag match.
Maybe we will tag together at some point.
That would be very nice, to be fair. I still think we would make an amazing, although we'll probably get the Samoan SWAT team combination thing going on. That'll be what they'll try and score us in. It's like, just out of curiosity for anyone, I'm Egyptian, not fucking Samoan. There's a big difference, trust me. Could just call ourselves the ethnic minorities, bruv. There you go. People would love that. We could go around to like all the like proper white places where UKIP are and really trigger them all. That'd be great fun.
Yeah.
Come on, that's mad heel heat. That is, or face heat, depending if you're wrestling Brighton or not. But it that depends. All right, word association. I thought this would be good fun. I'm going to read out a list of names of people that are in front of me, and you give me one word to sum that person up. Let's start off with something nice. Sky Smithson.
Oh, legend. Future legend.
She's amazing, isn't she? Can you give her a little nod for me? Just a little poke. Go on the Wrestle Plug. It's fun. I'm a nice person. I won't roast you, I swear. We love women's wrestling here. Zan Phoenix.
Underrated. Underrated.
Yeah, I like that.
From my experience with her, I think her nerves get better at her sometimes, but she's a lot more talented than she believes she is. And this is why I pointed out earlier that she has these matches with Sky, and they just click so well. I mean, they've had 3 or 4 matches at CWP. They've had one for Rev in their Buckland show, and she definitely gets the best out. Sky Switzerland gets the best out of her in the ring, and she puts on really good shows that way. Yeah,
I would. If I ran my own promotion, they would be running a series of matches for me, because I just think they're both fucking amazing. George Francis.
I just want to go friendly. He's a guy. I won't hear from him for a while, but I know he actually worries about me as a friend.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Those are the good people that you should have in your life, because they actually give a shit.
James Ty.
James Ty. Oh, I love that guy. I don't see enough of him.
He was my favourite wrestler growing up. I loved him. I used to go and see him like for FWA. I thought he was amazing.
He is. He's so good. I just think something at home or with work, he doesn't have enough time to commit to wrestling. And I think I was so privileged to actually get in the ring with him. And I'll put it, my number one ever favourite match that I've had was with him and Andy Simmons. That was that match, hands down, my favourite.
Dan Barnsdale.
The Voice.
The Voice.
I know there's other guys that have that tagline as being The Voice, but for me, it's weird because he's been a friend of a cousin of mine for a long time, and I've only really got to know him through wrestling the past several years, and yeah, he's such a good guy. He got an opportunity with Wrestle to do their announcing. For what reasons, I don't know why he's not there
He was
anymore.
so good at it as well.
He was good at it. But yeah, I've always got time for him. Always, always, always.
So we're just going with voice, are we?
Voice. This is it.
Voice.
He likes gold.
Yeah, he does. He rocks a pair of shades as well. You got to be special to wear a pair of shades indoors and not look like a complete burk.
That
What's
guy
that?
will turn up at your doorstep at 2 o'clock in the morning just for socks and shades, and you will not be disappointed.
Oh dear. I don't think anyone wants me on their doorstep at 2 in the morning, to be fair, mate. Ebenezer the Geezer.
These are still people that I don't spend enough time with. I love them so much. I don't get to spend enough time with them. Like,
We all just have a big old fucking drink up. Let's just have a fucking meal and a drink.
We need to do that. And I think he'll be seeing my face a bit more often after this shit show of a life that has been the past year.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've got all the time in the world for him. He is genuinely one of the best friends I've ever made. And you don't make many friends in this business. Well, you can make a lot of money or you can make a lot of friends, as the good man Scott Hall once said. There's a few here. I'm not sure how well you'll know them, but they were desperate to have their name put on this list because they've got egos, bless them. Aaron Cruz.
Who?
Love it. Some geezer you squashed in 5 seconds.
Do you know what? I loved having him for his first match. I mean, the lad didn't get a lot, but as first matches go,
he loves you.
It's the experience. It's the experience, isn't it? It's like,
yeah,
you need someone, even if you're out there for 10 seconds. He got to have an entrance. He got to get in the ring. He got to take a move, have a couple of bits of the show, and people might just know him as, oh, he got his ass kicked or whatever the first time, but that's your first match. You're not always going to win your first match. I certainly did win my first match. I'm gutted I couldn't do more with him if I had a singles match, but for the story that wanted to be told for that, just to help him set his nerves backstage, look after him, and just make sure he's in a good place for his first match. And I couldn't ask anything else from him. He did everything he needed to do, and I just hope he does more. I want to see more from him, because I love the guy.
Yeah, right before the pandemic, actually, he had a really, really special tag team match for Future Pro. Him and Ethan took on Rishi and Malik. It was a really, really good match, and it just showed that he's going in the right direction. So if he ever becomes a megastar, he can thank you for that. Cameron Anderson.
Cameron Anderson. I don't know who Cameron is.
Nobody does.
I'm sorry, I really am.
My word would be fuckboy, just saying.
I tell you, I need to do some more research. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Keep an eye on him. He could be something special. He's got wicked charisma, I'll say that much. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. Mark Sloan.
Mark Sloan. Not had much to do with Mark Sloan, but I've heard some good stories. I've heard some bad stories. So I don't really have an opinion on that guy. So
fair enough. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, mate. There's no force in here. Curtis Chapman.
You talking about
or Mad Kurt? Go with Mad Kurt.
Current incarnation of Curtis Chapman. It's weird. I love the guy. I don't know what sort of one word I would put to it. I've had a couple of singles matches with him, so professional. People think maybe he isn't because of Mad Kurt, but he is solid, consummate professional. I've never seen him half-ass anything. So
yeah,
he may have refused to take one or two of my moves before.
Fair enough. Oh God, you'll be next in the fight. Although I've noticed anyone who gets in his firing line tends to gain a lot more followers now. So maybe being roasted by Mad Kurt isn't a bad thing. So
No,
yeah,
I think he has a big Twitter following.
yeah, he'll probably have something quite horrendous to say to me at some point. I'm waiting for that. I'm stealing myself for Mad Kurt, mate. He's terrifying, bless him. I'm looking for a few of these. They might be slightly contentious, so I'm going to avoid those. I feel like you've shared enough, bless your heart. Let's go for something a bit nicer, shall we? Joshua James.
Oh, controversial one. Where do I go with this one? I like the guy.
I mean, you don't have to character assassinate people. You can literally just say one word and bail out.
I know, but maybe give a little bit where I sit with the people, so I don't just like shit and run or whatever.
Yeah.
But I like the guy. I kind of feel he's stolen my spot in Rev Pro.
Really?
Yeah. But I'm not going to take anything away from him. The guy's worked his fucking ass off.
Yeah, he's in great shape at the moment as well.
He's in great shape at the moment, and I won't. I mean, even when he was bigger, the only issue I have with what he is now is how does he work? Because this is the thing with say with me, if I was pressured to drop a shitload of weight, I start becoming less of a heavyweight.
And then you kind of, yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? It's hard to have that balance. Like, you know, Vader wouldn't be a destroyer if he was 250 pounds, would he? That's fair enough, mate. That's fair enough. Paul Burchill.
Paul Burchill. Is this because of the comment the other night on something came up one of the wrestlers?
I'm not aware of a comment. What happened there? I just because I know he's an FWA legend and that. And
okay, yeah.
I love Paul Burchill. It's one of my favourites.
I love Paul Burchill, especially as the Butch character. He had in WWE before they let him go. I actually thought he was really getting some footing somewhere, and then out of the blue, gone. Something cropped up yesterday or the day before about his pairing with Katie Lee. Again, she's gorgeous lady. Gorgeous lady. There was a thing about this whole incest angle.
Yeah, that was fruity, wasn't
it? I think that was a Vince McMahon thing that they wanted to.
Classic Vince McMahon.
Yeah, they didn't know where to put it, but yeah, I mean, people remember him for his pirate gimmick. You know, that was all great, and then he transitioned to this more serious character, and I actually drew parallels with the way Triple H was, and I thought, do you know what, they're gonna strap a rocket to him, and he's gonna be like the next Triple H, but that never seemed to come. I don't know what the in and outs of that was, but I was really looking forward to him being maybe the first British champion.
So one word for Paul Burchill.
Oh, just
underutilized.
Massively underutilized.
Yeah.
He's completely missed a trick with that one.
I was worried you're going to go with like incest or something. I was like, It's Vince McMahon. It's not us. It's Vince McMahon. Blame him. Please direct all your hate mail to Vince McMahon. Terrifying. All right, mate. One more. One word to describe this man. Eddie Kenway.
Not finished.
That's 2 words.
There's a hyphen in there somewhere. Watch his space.
Absolute legend.
Get the chip sorted. I'm hoping that end of this year things will turn around for me, and
good man. You'll always have support here, mate. Always.
Hopefully my bridges will either be burnt, or maybe I'll get approached by Mr. Gordon and we can do something a bit more productive than just.
Yeah, I'd like to think Andy would approach you, and honestly, I'd like to see the positive side of it. I'd like it if Andy approached you and said, "Do you know what? Let's work out some things. You know, let's see what the issues are and work towards them." Because I think that's how adults should do their business. So, with any luck, you might get that, mate. But
I've always been an adult there at Rev Pro, and their trainees there, a lot of them want to work with me. So
I did. So
like you mentioned George Francis. He's so much. He's got to be in a couple of matches himself, and he wants to do more. So, you know, let's do
He
more.
could be spectacular as well. He's got
There's people who,
untapped potential.
yeah, he can. Quite famously ended up on Botchamania once, but
Did he really?
Yeah, Curtis Chapman.
No idea about that.
I think there was a spot. He was New Wave of Wrestling. Curtis Chapman and Dan McGee. He went to do a power bomb and his legs buckled underneath him, and it looked quite painful, I would say. But
We'll splice it in just for the sake of it, if we can find it. So we'll put a nice little copyright, Matthew from Botchamania right there. Cool. Mate, it's been a pleasure, mate. Is there anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
Support local wrestling. It's maybe if it's not me, there's other guys that are local that are extremely talented, and they're going to be aiming for the big leagues now that there's more than just one option. WWE have got an NXT UK brand. You could see them there. Gary from next door, whatever his name is, you could see him on AEW one day. I mean, we've seen Jamie Hayter on AEW. I think she's had a match with WWE UK as well. So there's people that I know have been moved up, and it leaves spots for other people down here to progress.
Yeah.
Am I ever going to be anything massive? Probably not, because I'm getting too old now. I'm too out of shape. And unless something drastically changes with my life, it's probably not going to ever be there for me to take something massive on. But do you know what? If we ever get a cameo on AEW, Cody, please, it'd be quite nice.
Tagged.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Things like that would be nice. But
mate, if they put Luther on their TV, they've got no excuse not putting you on, because that guy sucks. Sorry, I'm not holding it back. That guy sucks. I'm so sick and tired of seeing him waltz around like some big old fucking giant egg. Like, book Eddie Kenway instead. He would be much better with the Pentaco than that clown.
Yeah, I just want to be that local guy that people bump into the shop and go, "Hey, I know you." I'm like, "Hey kid, high five."
Awesome. Where's your social media links, mate? Where can people get at you if they want to tweet or Facebook Eddie Kenway and tell him how ridiculously gorgeous he is and hit on him as the next Roman Reigns?
Oh, sexy. Cool. I am Samoan Eddie 13. Now I'm just about the same everywhere. Eddie Kenway on Facebook, Samoan Eddie 13 on Twitter, and I believe I'm the same on Instagram as well. Don't forget to get on the Wrestle Plug one as well, guys. Show your love.
You're the only wrestler who said that. Nobody else. I've had Josh Alexander on. Even he didn't play, although he did say he'd come back on when he's the heavyweight champion. So, can't really complain too much. Mate, it's been a fucking pleasure. We'll have you back on. If there's anything you can think you want to talk about, maybe later down the line, don't hesitate to contact me and we'll have you back on, because it's really been a joy. I am pleased to finally have one member of TakeOver on this podcast under my belt. Sky Smithson, you're next. Stop hiding from me.